This is Access to Experts, where we interview business and professional experts and ask the questions you most want the answers to.
Hi, I'm Jodina St. John, and this is Access to Experts. Our special guest today is the best-selling author of 3 books on persuading with integrity, a man who's been on stage for over 40 years, retired at 43, mentor to Mark Victor Hansen, Francis Ford Coppola, and Robert Allen, featured on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, Wired Magazine, and the Wall Street Journal. It is my privilege to introduce author, millionaire maker, and infotainer Joel Bauer. Joel, thanks so much for being here today.
That sounds impressive to me. I'd like to meet that guy.
Well, I'm very glad you're right here with us. And we are talking actually today about choosing the right speaker training program, something I'm sure you know a little bit about.
Well, you know, speaker, I speak on platforms, and this is kind of an art form. It means that my job is to separate everyone who's sitting in that room from their money. Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, cash checks. And I'm very sincere about this. If you're doing it right, they'll run up to you and they'll aggressively push their money towards you. If you're not doing it right, and there are a lot of speakers that seem to think that they can just get up there and talk and have no structure and the money's going to come. And it doesn't work that way at all. In fact, there's a very specific system, and there's psychology, and there's a philosophy behind it. And here's what's really frightening. If I give someone the tools that I have that took over 40 years to figure out, and I figured out the hard way, there was no mentoring for me. There was no one to hold my hand, there was no one to plug me in. And they just literally put their stuff in this thing I built, and they have no experience. They do about 30% of the room. Now, here's what's frightening. It enables them to retire at a very early age. We always say retire in 5 to 8 short years. I have taken, again, Mark Victor Hansen, Robert Allen, Dave Lakhani, Martin Howie, some of the top speakers on the planet who were already making money. They came to me. Then people just like you, someone who maybe hasn't done closing from a platform, you get to communicate from your heart what it is you love, what it is that's very dear to you, very precious. And the amazing thing is that if you don't offer something to that audience, they actually get upset. Most speakers don't know that. They don't know that if you don't offer an opportunity for someone to invest in, you're leaving them absolutely in the dark, no clue. They loved you, they embraced you, and now you're gone in their life. People want to give you their money. And the beauty of this is you get to do what you love. You get to do it consistently. You get to travel all over the world, live life on your own terms. There's no compromise. You don't have to acquiesce or compromise for anyone. You can do what you love and communicate what you feel good about. It could be macrame. It could be archery. It could be public speaking. It could be financial independence. It doesn't matter. It could be an expert, as you are, in the news industry, someone who's communicated in front of a live audience. It could be your expertise for someone who's up and coming, and they're going to make all the mistakes, and they get to avoid it. They're dying to give you their money. So there are some mistakes. There's some real mistakes that are being
let's
made.
talk about some of those mistakes. You, as the expert, I mean, you are a world-renowned trainer, speaker, infotainer.
I do it.
I love that, infotainer.
Yeah, infotainer, information entertainment. I take someone else's information, I make it entertaining and so persuasive that people go, I've got to invest in that. I've got to own that. I want to be a part of that. But here's what's so important. People think I have to choose the right thing. No, it can be anything. That's what having a system is all about. That's what Deming was talking about. He said 94% of all failure. The amazing Deming who changed China and Japan. Well, Mr. Deming said that 94% of all failure is a result of not having a system. It's not about the people. It's about the system. I have the system, and I only designed it one way. I designed it based on trial and error. And so if it worked, I kept it. And if it didn't work, you know, success leaves clues. I got rid of all the nonsense that wasn't working. And when I have people in tears after 2 hours that I've never met before, that don't know me, have never met me before, and I have them in tears, and I transfer these skill sets to someone else who's never done it before, and they duplicate the same. See, I used to think I had talent. That was stupidity. That was an illusion. I call it the solution. You know, the illusion of a solution. I didn't have any talent. I thought I was talented, so I gave myself all this credit. That's just ego, and that's not your amigo. So what I do is I can take someone that has no experience, take them through a 5-day program, day and night, absolutely tear them down and rebuild them. And when they leave there, they're able to make on a bad day $35,000. That's a really bad day in front of a small group where it's not even a qualified fit. I mean, I just walked in here off stage. I mean, Ann DeVere, some of the people in this studio here, an amazing director, your coordinators, these people know in this studio, I just came off stage. Now, granted, it wasn't a big day. I only pulled $117,000 out of a room.
Oh.
How long did it take me to do that? 90 minutes. Now, I mean, we're getting really aggressive here. We're going, wait a minute, this seems like it's all about the money, and I seem like this really superficial animal that's all about, no. Bottom line is you need to be paid for what you do. And there needs to be a value in the information you have. And if you deliver your ideas in the right way, you're actually going to get what you deserve in life for a change. Someone's going to actually say, absolutely, this person is credible. I believe in them. I understand them. I'm going to invest in them. And that's what I teach people to do, how to be appreciated. And if you're a housewife, what is you ask them what they do for a living, and they go, oh, I raise my children. Oh my God, I don't mean to offend anyone here, but that's such a horrible way of presenting yourself, and their self-esteem is in the gutter. What if they said, have you ever met 3 children that were so compelling that you hung on their every word, you hung on their every move, and you just didn't want to leave them, and you're wondering, where did these children come from? Who raised them? Have you ever met 3 children like that? And the people say no, and you say, well, that's what I do. You don't tell them you're a housewife. It has to do with the way in which it's presented. People have no idea of how this structure works. It's like a series of magic words and magic actions, body language, and tonality, and modulation, and structure. There's a syntax or a system. And I don't want to turn this intellectual because I'm not an intellectual. I'm not an academic. I make it really, really simple. So, yeah, I'd love to explore, the big mistakes.
Let's talk about let's go with the 5 most common mistakes that people make when choosing a speaker training program.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the first mistake?
Well, I'm looking down here. We did make some notes, and here's the biggest problem. And I only need one word for this. And everyone out there, they choose a teacher versus an actual speaker. Big mistake. You don't want to ever choose someone who's theorizing about what might happen. You might as well go to Dartmouth. You might as well go to Princeton or Vassar. You might as well go to Harvard. You're going to come out of there with nothing you can use in the real world that's going to close an audience on the platform. I hate to tell you this, but traditional education, it's great for learning to take tests and then forgetting everything you learn. I mean, my 3 kids, they're in top schools, and all I know is that they're forgetting everything they learn. The things I've taught them, because I've taught them these skill sets, will enable them to make $1, $2, $3, $5 million a year, which is enough to sustain, to build a future, to leverage, to have their income grow, to give them a destiny of self-esteem. Because you see, the beauty of this is it fills you up with self-esteem. So you don't want to choose a teacher. You want to choose someone who's doing it, who's under fire, like myself. I just walked off the stage. I was here in San Diego, the Mark Usick event called Combination to Success. I was there for 90 minutes, and the people there weren't even qualified. I mean, if you saw them, torn T-shirts, jeans, looked like they came from a trailer park somewhere. Now, I'm serious. They did not look qualified, but I don't judge people like that. I go, the people here need help just like anyone else. So I just opened my heart up and I communicated real openly, and I taught them what I had done in my life, and I talked about the fact that when I was born, everyone called me retard. I mean, I don't come from some tremendous background. My father wasn't even there. My mother raised me alone, and I had spinal meningitis, 2 spinal taps. They told my mom I would be dead. And 7 years later, I came out of this living coma. I mean, literally, I used to sit there in the corner and play with a piece of paper like an idiot. My family called me retard. So right now, if anyone's listening in, you're learning from a retard. That's what I was called. That was my label. And so if I can do this stuff, anyone can do this stuff. There's nothing special about me. And I just learned as I went along what to do and what not to do. And the second thing is you got to be passionate. Choose someone who teaches you how to turn your passion to profit. Passion to profit. I kind of live by that phrase. So the first thing I do as someone that I'm training is I teach them in this amazing transformational process in a matter of 2 hours how to identify what it is they would do for free in life. What it is if they had all the money in the world and it was their last day on the planet, what would they do?
That whole concept of do what you love, the money will follow kind of thing? Or is that taking...
No, that's on the money, but here's the thing. Most people, it's like the big secret out there. Oh, they buy the secret, the system. Well, that's great. You can program your mind for success all you want, and if you don't take the actions, nothing's going to happen. The secret is great, but it's like one part of the formula. It's wonderful. Prepare your mind, develop all your aphorisms, great. But you know what really counts? Passion. You've got to be passionate about the topic. And that doesn't matter if it's macrame or archery, as I said. It doesn't matter how mundane it is. I can show anyone how to build their system, how to do their presentation, or the truth is how to do their pitch. How to communicate, and how to viscerally and palpably and tangibly connect with that audience where they feel it. The more senses you involve, the more money you make. I show them how to make it a sensory experience, and it all comes from truth. I'm not going to teach anyone how to become me. As a matter of fact, it was the hard thing in life. I spent my whole life trying to figure out, my mom said, if you could just be yourself, you'll own it all. And so I spent my whole life just trying to, I was already there. And I show people how to do that. Not only do I show them, you see, because one thing, I can tell them things, they remember some, and I show them things, and they remember a few. It's all experiential.
So basically what you're saying, do what you love, the money will follow. Am I on track with this?
That's right. I mean, that is so accurate. The problem is, it's kind of like The Secret. You know, they tell you if you prepare your mind, you do your aphorisms, you set your mind in motion, everything will happen. Well, those people are hiding under the sheets. Nothing's happening. That's not the secret to life. The real secret is you got to have specific actions. You got to have a specific system that someone else has already, they've already been through all the H-E-L. I don't want to spell the word, but let's face it, a lot of people aren't coming from a real positive space. No one's ever told them that it couldn't be done. See, no one ever told me it couldn't be done. My mom raised me never, I was so bad. I was such a horrible communicator, used to stutter, used to hesitate. Oh my God, talk about ADD all over the place. And yet, when I'm on stage or I train someone, and one on stage, could be one-on-one, could be one on a group, could be one on 5,000, could be one at the Anaheim Pond or the convention center. It doesn't matter. I'm preparing someone to communicate to any quantity of people their idea in such a persuasive, such an influential manner that they're going to want to invest in whatever they have. And I know that's hard to believe, but my ratios are consistently between 38% on a bad day and 74% on a moderate day. That's about my average. Typically in the industry, if you were to find someone that talks about this stuff or even does it, they're teaching you how to do 10 or 12. Whoop-de-doo. I want to retire you quickly. I want you to be in a position where you're so financially solvent that you absolutely don't have to worry about the money, and you can go and just speak because you love what you're talking about, and you can impact more lives. And I know this sounds real airy-fairy, and you know it can't be that good, it can't be that easy. But I've taken people that, I mean, you take an MBA. He's been doing numbers. He's in Excel spreadsheets his whole life. I get him to stand on a little platform. He talks to 15 people. He walks out of the room with $8,000. Then he goes in front of 50 people. He gets up a little more nerve. And he feels the same. He suddenly realizes there's no fear. I have another way of obliterating the fear. So, you know, you don't want to choose a teacher. You want to choose someone who does it. I do it. I'm in the field. I'm under fire. I'm kind of fine-tuned, so there's no question they can throw at me that I don't have a complete solution system for. And the second thing is passion. They've got to be able to access something they're passionate about. So since they don't know, I show them how to identify that. I'm aligning every area of their physiology, every area of their mind, every area of their process, so they're able to go out there and the audience just, I mean, literally falls in love with them. I mean, you're not going to build trust. Everyone thinks, oh, you know, I'll stand on a stage, I'll build trust. No, trust is the result of my telling you I'll do something, and over a period of months or years, I consistently deliver. And then you begin to trust me. I'm not teaching people how to build trust. I'm teaching them how to build instant rapport, and I do that using the methods are incredible, so simple. I mean, the simplest methods. One of the things I give them is I write a book for them. Yes, I write a book for you. And I hand it to you the first day of the training. And your name is on it, and your picture's on it. And now you have instant credibility because you have your own book. Why did I do that? Because they're not going to do it on their own. 99% of the people, they talk about doing it, they never do it. This is about making sure that people succeed. So you got to find someone that's doing it and is willing to transfer. They're willing to transfer everything that's worked for them to someone else so they're incapable of failure. Failure's not an option here with this plan. I mean, don't ask me how to take care of my wife or raise my children. I'm trying to figure that out day by day. But if you ask me how to generate revenue, therefore prosperity, therefore freedom, as a speaker on a platform, talking about anything, I've had people say, you can't possibly use this with your formula. Our child is very sick and has this disease, and how would you turn that into a business, and how would you talk about that? And I did it, and they're making $4.2 million now. And all they're doing is helping their child. They're talking about this problem. I mean, this is pretty hardcore stuff. I know we probably, you know, this is not lightweight stuff, but I'd rather tell you the truth. It can be done. I don't care. Anyone out there that has something inside them that they feel they want to communicate. Any teacher in the world that's never been paid what they were worth. They're making 40 or 50 grand or 70 grand. And I know that if they knew what I know and they just do what I show them, they don't have to be creative, just do what I show them, their income can go from 40 or 50 grand to a couple $1 million a year, conservatively, and they get back their life, they get back their time. And the other thing is that the trainings are never complete. I mean, I know you're going to ask me this, what makes it different? Because there's some great trainers out there. Man, there's some beautiful people doing training for speakers, and some of them are even speakers. That's what I'm saying is important. But it's incomplete. They might show you how to stand or how to move or God, I hate that. I just went into that superficial mode, you know, because we don't do that. You come from a real place, and I show them how to stay there, how to stay aligned. One of the techniques I use, if you don't mind, I'll reveal it right here, is that this watch, if I flip it over, this watch took a long time to make. and I went to Switzerland, and I went to Hegel Culture, and I saw the watchmakers, and I had this watch done specifically for me a certain way. I wanted it modified, paid a lot of money for it, and that's not what this is about here. And thank God I can afford it. I came from nothing. I'm self-made. Thank God I can afford to have things. I mean, I only wear a watch. I wear it because it signifies the commitment those people made. They only make like $30 an hour, these watchmakers. And I found out they don't do it for the money. They sit under a microscope, and they work for months on end to create this masterpiece. And it doesn't even keep great time because it doesn't have a battery.
What does this watch do?
Oh, it just flips over and it looks pretty, and I play with it, and I can't see it anyway because my eyes are terrible. Okay. But the point of the matter is, it represents, so right before I walk out on stage, I teach everyone to do this. They find something that means something to them, and they remind themselves that the individual that made this didn't do it for the money, and so I mustn't walk out on stage for the money. I got to come from the heart. I got to remember these people have never heard these things before, and I show them how to set up their psyche. I show them how to set up their whole motivation in a different way. I show them something called the gift shift, which changes their state of mind, and they come out on stage, and not with superficial motivation. They come out on stage aligned, and they're oozing. They're like bubbling. They just can't wait to be with that audience, and they come from such a real place that the audience can't help but go, man, I didn't come here to buy anything, but I've got to invest in Jodina. I've got to be a part of Jodina. I got to have a piece of her. I want her to mentor me. I want her in my life. And so a complete training doesn't just teach you how to do that, but it teaches you the technology. See, speakers are spending $7,000 to $12,000 a day on technology. Like here we are in a studio full of technology, right? Well, I show them how to take a box, plug it in, and they're done. Their sound systems are running, their projectors are running, they're done. I'm not kidding. 14 minutes, they're set, ready to go. People in the studio see me do it before. The whole idea is to be under control. I don't want them spending a lot of money. I want them making money. It's not about how much you make in life, it's how much you keep. I want them making dramatic sums of income that give them massive freedom. I mean, this is a business. It's not a franchise here. It's teaching them, it's transferring my skills to them. And the reason I don't charge a lot, because if I do this, I don't want to, I mean, people say, well, you know, that's a lot of, no, but at the end of 4 days, I turn to the audience. Is there anyone here that doesn't feel it's a great experience they've ever had? And the speakers are going, shut up. This is the single greatest thing we've ever done. You gave us so much. I give them $90,000 in assets, and they're not paying anywhere near that. It really is transformational, and it means a lot to me. I know, I see where you're going with that.
We're going to go to the next one.
Well, I'm seeing your notes here, and you know, that's a big word. Why don't you ask me? Because I want to respond to it in real time. I know that you really spent a lot of time preparing for this, and you wanted the truth, and you also speak professionally. I mean, you're a master communicator here. You've been on news sets and television shows. You've done documentary. I mean, you've done it all. You're also a professional actor. You're someone who knows the difference between a lie and the truth. You know, you feel it in your gut, whether someone really has the skills to transfer them to someone else. And I don't move fast. I mean, right now we're in this compressed time period here. Like, we're trying to shove this into a capsule, and people are listening in right now. They're trying to decide, well, he's too hyper, or he feels right, or I'm not trying to relate to them right now. I'm just telling them that you need, if it's not me, make it someone else, but find someone that can give you every single skill you need, from the technology to the body languaging to the neurolinguistic programming to the languaging skills. I've spent my entire life in linguistics, learning the power of words, the impact, how to position them, the sequence of words and how that impacts an outcome. From designing the graphics to manipulating the PowerPoint to the control over PowerPoint where it becomes a proscenium arch and it creates the kind of imagery that motivates people emotionally. This is your show. This is the very best presentation of what you have that you will ever conjure in a lifetime. These people have never seen a presentation like the ones I teach you to create, and I make it so easy. As a matter of fact, I do all the work for them. I give it to them on a platter. They walk out of my event ready to rock and roll. And there are people in this room right now that know I'm telling the truth, because there are people in this room right now that have done it. And here's the scary thing. You come from the heart, and they open up their bank account. And I make sure that when I give them something, it's worth 100 times what they invested. This is absolutely ethical. This is completely moral. I'm going to overpromise to that audience, and I'm going to massively overdeliver. And I'm going to support them long term. And I show you how to do that. I show people how to build coaching organizations. And so just say that one word, because that's it. You wrote it down, and you're putting me under fire. Theory. Yeah.
Theory.
Yeah. Don't choose a trainer or a program from an academic. Back to the teacher thing. Okay. Don't base it on theory. Find someone that is generating the kind of money you want to generate, you need to generate to retire your family, the people who depend on you. See, the truth of the matter is, people don't go into business for themselves. People aren't watching this video right now for themselves. They think they are. They're watching it because there's someone who depends on them. See, our greatest fear isn't the fear of fire, the fear of falling, or the fear of public speaking. It's the fear of letting our family down. That's the number one fear on the planet. The funny thing is, I've never heard anyone else communicate that. And the whole audience goes, when I talk to people about that, they go, yeah, that's a real fear. Letting your family and friends down, the people you care about, the people you love. That's a reason to pretty much throw it in, throw the towel in. And so the reason I do this is because when I can transfer my life, the incredible success I've had, not only financial, but emotional and spiritual, because I'm enjoying myself. You know, if I die in the next 2 minutes, have an aneurysm right here or a heart, it doesn't matter. I've done everything I wanted to do. My kids' trust funds are in place. My wife is secure. Everything's good, and they know that I'm happy. And I want people to have that. And I know that your life as a speaker, as a communicator, as a master closer, as an infotainer, as a perceptionist, as a, well, you know what we call this? We don't call this, I call this profit point. I teach you how to exist in a given moment, in the moment, and to connect with an audience. And it becomes your profit point. They get what they want. Yeah, you got the double win. You get what you want. But there's so much money involved. People, see, there's not another industry out there where I can take someone who has like no skill, who has like no vision, who's like lost. I know of no other business where I can, boom, train them, and the next week they're on a platform. In many cases, I actually get them booked because of my associations with hundreds of producers all over the country. So when they come to my training, I didn't tell you that. You know, I'm talking about the complete program. What about the marketing? How do they get the gigs? So someone teaches you to speak right, and they show you the theory, but you still haven't spoken. Well, at my event, they speak. And then they get booked. And they have all the marketing. And they also, the two things that will kill you in life are two things. Only two things. That, and you know, I shouldn't discuss this here, but if you don't stay in touch with people the right way, and you don't give them what they want, they disconnect. I give them all my tools, $90,000 in assets, all my software. I give them things that are completely automated. They shove it in a PC or a Mac, and they're done. It builds, it's called the Auto Pitch Builder. It builds a presentation. Then I give them my Auto Pitch Reservoir. That's really scary. That's got all the tools in it that are already done, which saves them like 16 hours. They just drag and drop and build it. Just open up their heart, and they just go, okay, I want to communicate this, and I want this to connect here, and then they're done. And I know it sounds too simple, too good to be true, and that's why guarantees. That's why I guarantee what I do, because only a fake says, well, you know, this is the greatest thing in the world, but they won't give you a guarantee. I'd be real weary of anyone that doesn't have a rock-solid guarantee. So absolutely do not, under any condition, approach someone who is teaching from academic, books they read, notes they took. You know how most people teach speakers? They buy a bunch of books on speaking. They decide that because they were able to speak on a stage and do a keynote and make their $5,000, and they're in the NSA or they're you know, whatever, they're in one of these programs, or they're in Toastmasters, that they are now a professional speaker. I don't train those guys. I teach you how to take a room apart emotionally and provide. I also teach you how to build your system. No way. Way. No. Serious. I take what's in your heart now and show you, move by move, how to build the system. You got to be kidding me. You mean in 5 days, you end up with your system, you end up with the marketing, you end up with the ability to speak, you end up with the solution. You walk out of there, you're ready to go. You're locked and loaded. There you go. Arsenal's full. You win the war. You go out there now, and I give you the tools. You just email them to producers, and because they see the results, no one knows it. No one understands the marketing. They book you. Now you've got permission to walk up on a stage in front of a qualified room of people that want what it is you have, because they teach you that as well. You speak from the heart, out of love, and everyone follows you to the paper table. The paper table is heaven. That's where they lay down the paper and go, give me what you have, and I'll give you what I have. Which is really a very tiny investment on their part, because it took you a lifetime to figure it out. Well, it doesn't take a lifetime anymore to figure it out. So never approach anyone who teaches from theory. It's not going to be useful. I know you got one more thing there. And then we have
time for one more mistake that you think that people make. And actually, you say it's choosing a program that will let anyone pay to attend.
Yeah, you see, I got to apologize, but I implied, I know if someone misconstrues what I'm talking about here, that they heard me say that I can take anyone. I don't take anyone. You can't pay to be in my programs. You need to apply. And the application, I make you jump through hoops. I put you through a massive questionnaire. You see, I want to make sure I can help you. I choose the people that I train. They don't choose me. Why? Because I've never had a failure. The reason I haven't had a failure is I make careful choices. Now, I'm sure I would have had a few more successes, and I probably missed on a few. But I asked them to write in handwriting on these questionnaires, no typing. I don't let them stick print. I don't care how bad their writing is. I want to see their emotions. When you're writing, graphoanalysis, I won't go into that here, but they're connecting emotionally, especially these guys that don't even remember how to do it. And then it connects them. And so I read these things, and I'm telling you, I've spent an hour on these things before, hour and a half, an hour. And then if I need more, I feel like the person's, I really do this. I mean, I don't do big trainings. I do very small trainings. I maybe take 30 people. That's it. And you know, we're beyond lovers at the end of that training. I'm telling you, we're beyond intimacy. The room galvanizes, and you end up with friends and peers for life. And everyone's helping each other. It's a mastermind. That's one of the secondary benefits that I didn't even, plan on. It just happened. Originally I just did a 2-day training because Mark Victor Hansen and Robert Allen and Mitch Carson, these big marketers who made a lot of money, they would hire me and they would pay me $25,000 for a few hours of my time to sit and counsel them. That sounds like a lot of money, but they'd produce millions. So, it's a value proposition. If you pay someone $25,000 but you made $4 million, whoop-de-doo, And this is nowhere near that kind of. I don't like to charge a lot. I don't feel it's necessary. So I decide who is going to come to my program. I make sure they cover my expenses because, quite frankly, I did retire quite a few years ago, and I don't need the money. So that's another reason I keep it affordable. And I absolutely want to knock the ball out of the park. And that's the only sports metaphor you'll ever hear from a guy that wasn't raised by a father. But I knock it out of the park. They're absolutely no one. I offer them their money back. They go, you're nuts. This is the greatest experience we have ever had. So I decide who attends. They apply, and I'll even send them videos, and I tell them I need to know a little more. And if I say no, at least I tell them that I really appreciated it. I say no to about 70%. 30% of the people who apply, I embrace. Never had a failure. And the reason I can't afford a failure is I end up booking these people many times at my own events. And I can't afford to put someone on there that isn't good. And so here's how I know someone's not going to be good. If they're not open emotionally, if they're shut down and closed off, and they're not willing to reveal themselves, and they're not willing to tell the truth. If they're going to be plastic in front of an audience, it's not going to work. You're not going to get their money, and you're not going to build their trust. You're not going to have rapport. You're not going to go anywhere if they don't know that it's real. So I need people willing to actually live their life with honesty and integrity. You don't have to change anything. If someone is pure and they come from the heart, I'm going to embrace them in my program, and they're going to be there, and we're going to train them, and then we're going to transfer all the skill sets.
Well, let me just take a minute because this is really good information, and I just want to recap for our audience. What we're talking about are the 5 mistakes that people make when choosing the right training program. And the first, you say, is choosing a teacher instead of a working speaker. The second is choosing a topic that they're not passionate about. The third is choosing training that's not complete. The fourth mistake is choosing a program based on theory. And the last mistake, choosing a program that will let anyone pay to attend.
Oh, you ever been to a program like that?
Yes, I have actually.
Oh my God. And you want to take I hate to say this, but you want to take your life. You're going, oh man, I'm in the wrong place. You see, the truth of the matter is, you can't help everyone. You help people that are ready for help. They could be sitting there, and if they're not ready for assistance, if they're not open and say, okay, I need your support, and I'm willing to take action, if they're shut down, I don't want to deal with them. I'm so far beyond that. I'm not their therapist. I'm there to do 3 things. Transfer my skills. They're duplicatable, they're transferable, they're reliable, they're proven, and if they will just do what I show them, they produce the same results or greater. I've got people who blow me away. I'm one of the most successful guys in the industry. And I'm not telling you that. You can do some research. I'm on every. I'm on 19 platforms in the last 3.5 weeks. I'm going back to Australia. I'm there 6 months out of the year. I got a massive following internationally. I'm in Singapore, Bangladesh, Puttaparthi, India, IBM, Toshiba, Panasonic, Lear Siegler, Schlumberger, Gilbarco. Some of the biggest companies in the world have utilized me to stand on a platform and train their people, to teach them. And they pay me these enormous sums of money. So all I'm doing now is transferring what has not only retired me, but leveraged my family. Allowed my wife and myself to raise our children, hands-on, to travel with our children. Cats in the cradle, silver spoon, little boy blue, man on the moon. Man, if you've still got kids and you're with them and and you're looking for a solution because you can't be with them, this is the answer. I know of no other thing on this planet next to owning real estate. And let's face it, everyone talks about owning. Well, you know what? To buy real estate requires some skills and some money. This will generate the revenue. Hardcore revenue. Nothing will generate it faster. Stand.
Now that we've gone over some of the mistakes, let's actually talk about some of the questions that people should be asking when choosing a speaker training program.
There's three. And I'm looking at them here. I mean, I did my homework. You said to me, come prepared. And I'm staring at them. By the way, I'm not reading it right now. I'm looking at it, and I'm allowing myself emotionally to immerse myself in the truth. And here's the truth. Most important question. How do I confirm that the person that's going to be teaching me is qualified? So here's what you ask. Will the person teaching me at the training, do they make over $500,000 a year? Because that's conservative. That's entry-level income as far as I'm concerned for someone doing this. $500,000 is nothing. You know why? I hate to say this, but $1 million is not a lot anymore. You need many millions to leverage yourself to live off, the interest generated or your investments. And so I'm setting people up for retirement. And that doesn't mean they throw in the towel. That means they get to do what they want and love it. So I invite people, in my case, to check me out. So they go to my website, easy to find. Am I allowed to give that here?
Sure, please do. As a matter of fact, I was just on your website the other day.
And you notice it's very real. It's blogging. I teach for free there. And so you go to my site and you have free training. And you get to try me on for size. I put a couple $1,000s in free training on the website. And by the way, I'm an infotainer, my information, and a very entertaining process, which I can teach to anyone, transfer to anyone. Duplicatable outcomes, same thing, same success, or greater. And so when they go to the website, they get to see me in action, and they get to watch me take a room apart where I pull $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 out of a room, and everyone's happy. Everyone is happy. So you only ask the question, will the person who's going to be instructing me, are they the real deal? Are they doing this under fire? Or is this some theorist or teacher? Don't take the program if they can't prove, and no salesman. Don't go to a training because most of them are just a disguise for salespeople. You go there and they're going to be great training. Go there, there's like 19 speakers, and each one of them is a speaker probably that I trained that's going to try and take your money, and they will. You want to go to a training where the guy that does it or the gal that does it is the only one teaching, and there's nothing sold there. They're really giving you their life on a platter. That's the first one. Second question is absolute proof. If when you call and you're considering a program like this, there is nothing like it. I know because I know every program out there, and those guys train with me. They train with me, and their testimonials, the top speaker trainers on the planet, their testimonials are on Google. They're online. If they go to my site, infotainer.com, information, entertainment, infotainer.com. Now, that kind of tells you how long I've been around, because I secured that URL at the beginning of the internet that Gore invented. Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. The truth of the matter is that I didn't invent this. What I did was I figured it out step by step by making all the wrong moves and getting lucky along the way and taking note. And after 40 years, you see, here's another question I want to answer. Has the guy training me been on the stage for over 3 decades? I've been on stage, on a platform, from 7 years of age. I have been on a platform, and I have the video to show it, the film converted to video when I was a kid performing and getting paid to communicate. First a magician, then a hypnotist, then a hypnotherapist, all those skills, then a cruise director. You and I have a similar background. We talked about that. Amazing background. You were on the ships. I was on the ships for almost 11 years. I was a cruise director. And that was part of my evolution. My education in life came from these very disparate, disconnected, kind of dissociated. You'd never think it would all come together. And it all came together cohesively. And that's why I have these extraordinary and very unique skills that are transformational. People come and you go to my website, infotainer.com, and you look at the proof. You see, they can't all be lying. There's about 11 hours of testimonials. A testimonial is when we hear from someone else. It's called social proof. We live vicariously through the words and actions of others. So when you go to the site, You hear them, and they're showing you, I made 110 grand, and I left the event, and here are my forms, and I've never made this much money. And that happens all the time. It happens all the time. And they send me these testimonials. You go to the site is alive. I run the site myself. I program it. I communicate. It's live. And there's so much free information there. As a matter of fact, when they go to the site, infotainer.com, they're going to get as a gift from me 26 training videos that come automatically, no sales pitch, nothing to buy.
I just signed up yesterday.
But did you already get something?
Yes, I did this morning.
And you click on the link, and there's nothing to read.
Yeah.
It's just a video. And it teaches you in 2 or 3 minutes a really cool skill set that enables you to differentiate yourself, position yourself as the only one. And, you know, we talked about that money-back guarantee. Well, it's real simple. If someone attends my training, and remember, I've already had them fill out the questionnaires, and I'm pretty sure they have the right heart, and they're in alignment. Because someone could try and abuse me, but that's not nice. I hope people aren't like that. But if they're at my training, at the end of the first day, full day of training, into the evening as I do bonus sessions, and there's no long breaks, a few 20-minute breaks, that's it. Hardcore, and if they don't feel it's probably the single most powerful, transformational seminar, training, immersion, life transformational process they've ever been to, they don't have to say a word. They go to my dad. My dad didn't raise me, came into my life at age 41. I'm retiring him now, meaning he works with me, and I've got him leveraged. I love the fact that we're friends. There's no remorse, there's no recrimination, there's no resentment, there's no revenge. He wasn't in my life, I didn't know him. He can't understand why I just accept and love and adore him, and he works as my personal assistant. So when they're communicating to my office, and I have a staff, he's the only guy, he's the first point of contact. So they got to talk to my dad. That's Stephen. And when they call Stephen, S-T-E-P-H-E-N at infotainer.com, they can send him a question or whatever. He comes from the heart. He wishes he was in my life. He didn't raise me, but I'm so glad he wasn't in my life, because he would have raised me differently. My mom didn't hold me back. He said he would have. He would have forced me through a linear education, and I would have come out different with that result. So now I have my father in my life as my assistant who runs my operation, kind of program director, and we get to help people every day. That's all we do. We get to help them through our systems, our marketing systems, this transformational system. It all works together. Oh yeah, I mean the whole thing, it's soup to nuts. We take someone's passion, bring them to profit, retire them, enable them to do what they want to do. Love and life. And here's our guarantee. At the end of the first day, you didn't like it, they go to my dad and they just have to do one thing, just give him a hug. And if they hug him and they go, they don't have to say anything. All their money's back in their bank account. They don't come back. They don't have to say a word. They don't have to feel it just wasn't right for them. Has it ever happened? One time, I said it's never happened, but this is an exception. We had a lady that didn't speak English. And somehow she got someone to fill in and so we accepted her. And I never talked to her. And she was from Korea. And I've been to Korea. I love Korea, but she just didn't understand what I was talking about, and my Korean's really bad. So that didn't work. Now, if you want to hold that against me and say that was a failure, then I failed.
Okay, so talking about the website, where I actually was there yesterday, if you go to Joel's website, which is infotainer.com, you're going to get over how many thousands of dollars? A couple of thousands of dollars?
It says 500, and I do that because people just don't expect to get so much, but there's actually thousands of dollars in free training there. And you click on free gifts, but then they get 26 training videos. And my blog is not me ranting. The blog has me teaching all the marketing processes that can be used by any professional speaker, anyone that wants to grow their business. It's really just a gift site, and there's nothing sold there.
No, and you're also going to become a member of Joel's private speaker mastery club at no cost. This is Joel's way of giving back. Joel, thank you so much for being here with us today. Much appreciated. Aw.
I enjoyed it.
I'm Jodina St. John. This is another segment of Access to Experts. Our special guest today, Joel Bauer. Again, you can visit his website by going to infotainer.com.
This has been Access to Experts, where we interview business and professional experts and ask the questions you most want the answers to.